Welcome. I'm Dee, and this is Single Mama Guided Life, where I try to navigate through finances, motherhood, being single, and everything in between. And I bring you guys along for the journey to hold me accountable. So this is my mid-month check-in. This is where I usually check in with my finances on camera. Now, most content creators who do budgeting videos usually check in weekly and do weekly check-in videos, but because I do not spend that much on my off paycheck week, I choose to do mid-month check-ins on camera. I still check in with my finances weekly because I need to know what's going on with my money, but for this purposes, this is where we at. Mid-month check-ins to me allows for me to correct my habits. So if I find that in the beginning of the month that I'm overspending and I'm lax in certain areas, I know that I have the next 2 weeks to get my act together. Additionally, mid-month check-ins allows for us to readjust our budget. One thing that I've learned is that it's a journey. So along this journey, we may have stops. We may have, areas where we just full speed. So, and then we have times where we just have to change directions. So for me, this is what a mid-month check-in do. It helps me with determining what I need to do. The first thing I do on my mid-month check-in is I look at my look at my monthly budget overview, and we're going to look at January. I look at my goals, which is to put $500 towards debt, put $500 plus towards emergency fund, and bring in at least $1,000 plus from my side income. Now, why I look at my financial goals at this point is to see if I'm on task to meet them. If not, what can I do at this point to make those adjustments? The next thing that I look at is my expense tracker, because this is where I list the items that need to be deducted out of my income. So I usually list when they're actually due, the item name, and the amount. My first income breakdown goes from December 31st to January 14th. So I need to take a look at all the bills up into the 14th, because those are the ones that I need to verify have cleared my account. So the first is rent. So that cleared. My payers plan is cleared. The internet has cleared. Streaming has cleared. Life insurance is cleared. Electric, credit card number 1, storage, water, and cable. So all of the expenses from to the 14th have been cleared. Additionally, I had to pay the Weight Watchers cancellation, both medical bills, and the property tax. Now, I have sent something to Giving, but I haven't sent the full amount, so I'm not going to put a check there at this time. Additionally, I put asterisks next to items that either the amount is less or more, so when I do my overview, I know exactly what I need to update. So the next thing I do after I look at my monthly budget overview is I actually look at the first income breakdown to know exactly what I had to work with in the beginning and what I should be left with going forward. Before doing that, let's talk about the water bill. So I allocated $63 to the water bill. So long story short, I paid my water bill via check. I am not paperless, so I wait for the bill to be received to me, and then I put the check in the envelope, and then I drive down probably that Sunday before it's due, and I put it into their payment mailbox. I've been doing that for the last 3 years with no problem. Well, I was supposed to receive the bill December 30th via notification from the form delivery. So if you don't have a form delivery, do that, because it allows for you to see your mail before it gets to your mailbox, just in case you have instances like this. So I usually don't check my mailbox every day because I don't get that much mail. So for me, what happens is, say if on Monday I get 7 pieces of mail, but on Tuesday I don't get anything, on Wednesday I get 1, and say around Thursday I may get 5. I may go to the mailbox on Friday just to clear out the mail that has been accumulating. Also, because this image is scanned in at a particular time, I always give it 1 to 2 days to determine if the mail is missing. So when I went to go pick up the mail on the 2nd, there wasn't anything there. I didn't think nothing of it because it was close to the holiday. So I'll say midweek, I went to go write the check for the water bill, and then I was like, wait, did I get my water bill? And I was like, I remember getting notification. And so I went through all of the mail because it does sit at my door until I open it. And it wasn't in there. So I went to the mailbox, it wasn't there. Then I realized that I didn't receive it, though I was notified. I did put in a missing mail report with the post office, but I'm not 100% sure they're going to get back to me. Additionally, I reached out to the water department, and they was like, well, we can print out like the online billing and send it to you, but it wasn't going to be in the same format and or allow for me to have like a payment stub or anything or a return envelope. So I said, you know what, I'll just stop by the water department and pay it. So I went on a mini rant, but I decided I'm just going to spare y'all. Long story short, you no longer can pay your water bill over the counter in my city. They have a kiosk, but if you use the kiosk, you will have to pay a fee regardless of the type of payment you're using. The non-fee option is to put it in a mailbox, which I was attempting to do, but I didn't bring an envelope with me and none was offered. So I just leave, head back home. Was so upset, I went online and just paid for it. Ended up paying the fee to pay it online to just get it over with and out of my account. Then I learned that was actually my last check of my checkbook. I don't need to order anymore. I was only using them for this. So now I would have to go to plan B, which is I'm going to automate this. And so now for sure, someone's going to lose a job because it's going to automation. And it's not going to be someone in this company that's, processing. It's going to be the lady at the counter who don't give good suggestions that can be helpful. So let me pull it back. Mini rant. So in essence, my checking buffer should have $1,472.21. When I check my account at this current time, it does not. There's a couple reasons why. The first reason is that I learned that my electric bill cannot be placed on a credit card. It only can be set up via a checking account. So with that being said, I'm just going to pay that out of my checking account, and I'm not going to automate that. So I did have to pay that out versus putting it on the credit card. And because it's not listed here, that made this a little bit more. There is some other instances. I won't go further into it because it's not really an instance where it's causing this to be like substantially low. But it's just something to keep in mind. So let's go ahead and move on to the weekly check-in. So we have our weekly check-in for our envelope system. And we have the first 2 weeks, which is December 31st through the 7th and the 8th through the 14th. So we're going to slide this over here. And we're going to first talk about our weeks. And I hope you can see this. Probably can't. But you don't need to see this. You can see that. So first and foremost, first, let's talk about this. So the fund money, I budgeted $30 for gas. I budgeted $30 and $7.09 was remaining in this account. For groceries, I budgeted $180. I did win a giveaway, a cash giveaway from Tasha with Mind Your Money, and it was $10. And I elected for it to be cashed out to me, so I added it to the groceries because I knew it was going to go downhill. So then I budgeted $40 for household, $80 for personal, and restaurants I budgeted $57. Of the fund money, I spent $29. I left them with $1. For gas, I spent $25.99. I left them with $11.10. For groceries, I had a total of $190. I spent $187.77, and that left me with $2.23. For household, I spent $35.27, even though that doesn't like a 5, it is one, and that left me with $4.73. For personal, it was $72 I spent, left me with $8. And then for restaurants, and I discussed this in the income breakdown, was at first I had put 56, but I needed to be 57 because the total that I spent for restaurants was $56.35. So I needed to round up a little bit more, and I left me with 65 cents. I carried those same balances over to week 2. And so for money, it was $1. Gas, it was $11.10. Now I did add $44.71, and I'll explain that shortly. Groceries was $2.23. Household was $4.73. Personal was $8, and restaurants was $65. So now let's move over to our spending record. And the spending record looks similar to my cashless envelope tracking because this is how I wanted to look to make it easier for me to check in weekly. So let's talk about the second week. I do color code, and I'll show you right quick. This is my little code here to determine what week I'm working in. So for week 1, I end up spending the $1 for the fun money because it's not too much you can do with it anyway, so I allocated it to another expense. For gas, as stated, I added $44.71. That comes from a deposit of $24.99 and a deposit of $19.72. I under budget gas, and I was using my car more for my side income, which caused me to pull from other categories in order to make up this amount. So for week 2, I spent $4, $24.99, and $26.82. So that was $55.81, and that was also the total that I had in that account. For groceries, I spent the $2.23 because it was just allocated to another expense. Those expense that it was allocated to was household. So let me tell you, is that we were getting like a winter advisory, and whenever we have upcoming storms, I always check our emergency kit to make sure we have everything we need. Well, when I went to go check it, I couldn't find the flashlights, and so I looked all over, couldn't find the flashlights. And then I remembered that I actually threw the flashlights away because it had corroded. Somehow it got, and then inside it was like wet, and it was nothing around it that was wet, but I just didn't know what was going on, and the mechanism itself was like rusting away. So I ended up just throwing them away. So I had to go replenish that because we need flashlights just in case something happened with electricity. So additionally, I took from personal the $8 as well. I mean, because it was my mistake, I had to pay for it, and it was a little bit over, so I did have to pull 35 cents for restaurants, so that left me with 30 cents. So for my envelope system, I have 30 cents that I'm carrying over to week 3 at this current time. Now I'm going to just set this to the side here, and we're going to talk about the sinking funds. Now with the sinking funds here, we have car maintenance, and the beginning balance was $50. We had gifts with the beginning balance of $38.16. Now for health, the health balance includes my flexible spending account amount. Even though it's in a separate account, I like to keep track of it. So that's why I listed it here, as well as I had to add $55.51 because on the 31st or so, I re-up all my prescriptions so I can take advantage of meeting my deductible. Take advantage of getting the less amount because I met my deductible. Miscellaneous, I added 25. Papa, we had 613.12. Property is 90. Taxes, which is for the side income, has a balance of 726.16, and travel was 50, and the bill carryover was 12. Now for week 1, for car maintenance, and we're just going to show it here, is that I deposited $100. There was interest of 8 cents, and I had to spend $3.81 for the insurance fee on the credit card for the tires. So I left them with a positive 96.27. So this is what you see here is the transactions totals. So that was 96.27. For gifts, I spent the 38.16. I've only spent the 55.51 of health. For miscellaneous, the first week I added $5.78. And this comes from I do roundups for this account. So the purchases that I was making, the difference was actually being sent to this account, and that's where this balance came from. Excuse me, this transaction came from. For Papa, let's go over to Papa here, and we have, I deposited $100, but I did spend $27.13, and the interest was 3 cents, so that's $72.90. For property, same thing. I deposited $15 and I paid out the winter taxes, which is $565, so $935 is added the first week. Then for taxes and side income, I deposited $54.31, and then there was a interest payment of 12 cents. So that was $54.43. So let's go ahead and talk about week 2. So for week 2, I didn't add anything here. For gifts, I didn't add anything. For health, I didn't add anything. Now for miscellaneous, and we can come back to this sheet, this is where I pulled the $24.99 for gas. So I'm going to put $24.99 here. For Papa, I didn't add anything or have to use it the second week. The same thing for property. The same thing for taxes. And then the same thing for the rest of the categories. So nothing has been added. So this is my weekly check-in for my sinking funds. I don't know why I drew a blank. I love this way so much better. It makes it so much easier to see everything. So the last thing I look at is my unbudgeted spending tracker. So as you can see, $19.72. This is what I actually transferred to the gas envelope system to make up that difference. Then the $2.95 I pulled from here because of the water bill payment and paying it online. And $11.63, I can't figure out where it's at. I just can't figure it out. I don't know why I can't figure it out. Because I didn't make a lot of, purchases in this account. I think it was a lot of moving parts to this account, which I have actually found a resolution to it, and I'm happy about it now that I have a resolution. So for my unbudgeted going into the next income breakdown, $680.70 is what I'm taking into that. But what I was saying is that what happened was I'm still trying to figure out how to move the money that I allocate for my credit card for the bills out of my main checking account. And I was able to do that successfully by just opening up a second checking account and moving that money there. And I'm happy I did that, so now I can realistically see what's my unbudgeted and what's not. So this is my mid-month check-in. I hope it was very helpful. I hope it gave you ideas to look at where you are at. Now, as far as putting money towards debt and emergency fund, we know that's falling from out of mostly my side income. So I'm working on that, and I found that everything is coming to normalization in my life as far as outside activities, that now my personal life is becoming a little bit more hectic and intertwining with my side income, and I need to figure out what I'm going to do to ensure that I meet this goal. If you're new to my channel and you love to be part of my village, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. To all my returning subscribers and the new ones, I thank you. Stick around, it's more to come. Everyone hit that like button, let them know I'm here, and please share this with your family, your friends, and your co-workers. Peace out.